Good morning.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, Ann. How are you?
Good, great.
Well, I'm really happy to have Ann Lundblad with us this morning. It's a chilly morning here in North Carolina. Ann is a world-class distance runner, ultra runner, and you've had quite a remarkable year.
Oh, thanks.
Amazing. In January, Ann started the new year by running a 24-hour race and set her personal record running 140 miles in 24 hours. Then to top that off, just for a summer run, she decided to run 14 miles on the, 14 days on the Blue Ridge Parkway, and that was with a team of about...
there were 3 of us who finished.
3 who finished.
It was actually on the Appalachian Trail, not the Parkway.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that run.
Well, it was 550 miles on the Appalachian Trail across the state of Virginia.
Yeah.
So we started in Damascus and ran all the way to Harper's Ferry.
Yeah.
Averaged about 41 miles a day, and it was pretty grueling. Yeah. In between, my runs took anywhere from 10 to 12 hours a day, and in between I was setting up camp, tending to blisters, trying to refuel and get geared up for the next day.
Yeah. And then 2 months later, she went to Poland to represent the U.S. And ran on the Women's U.S. Championship team, which ran another 24-hour race. And there the women took the gold, she and her 2 teammates, and we're going to talk about that as well. So first of all, congratulations on an amazing year.
Thanks.
And I think the first question most people want to know is, during those long races, the 24-hour races, or even the 12-hour days, what goes through your mind, generally speaking?
It's interesting, you know, when I did the New Year's Eve race, I really thought this would be a great opportunity to kind of think about the year that has just passed and plan my goals for the year to come. But what I ended up doing was just focusing on the here and now, and that's what I tend to do in a race. I'm not thinking any insightful, brilliant thoughts. I'm basically thinking, how do my legs feel? How's my stomach feel? Do I need to eat anything? Do I need to drink anything? What's my pace look like? Where's the competition? I'm constantly running through a checklist in my mind about where I am and where I need to be.
What was it like in the first 24-hour run in January, where the course was just a little less than a mile, and so you're pretty much doing 1-mile loops straight for 24 hours? Do you feel like that was helpful in terms of its predictability?
Yeah, I actually, most runners don't like that kind of event, but for me, somehow I thrive on that. I just I like the predictability. I like getting into kind of almost a meditative zone kind of place where I don't have to think about, is there a hill around the next bend, or, you know, I just kind of do one lap at a time. And it helps to break it down too, rather than thinking I've got 130 miles to go. I just think I'm going to make it this next mile to to when I see my aid again.
Right, fantastic.
Yeah.
And you spoke about the some of the adversity, for example, in the Tour de Virginia run of you got those blisters fairly early.
Yeah, like the first and second day.
Yeah, so talk about kind of coping with pain and coping with adversity when you're facing these big challenges.
It was tough, and to be honest, there were a lot of days I thought about quitting. I had some tears out on the trail, and one of the things I had to remind myself is there were 3 people, including myself, and the other 2 guys were hurting just as badly as I was. Yeah. So reminding myself, this is what it's about. This is what you bargained for when you signed up for this event. You didn't think it was going to be easy. I kept trying to focus on my ultimate goal, which was to finish. I didn't want to quit. Right. And I think I just have an ability to endure a lot of discomfort. And I don't, you know, obviously I think part of that is inborn, but I think it's something that you can really develop. And I think over the years I've really worked to develop that and to realize that it's temporary. Right. You know, that at any moment I could stop and it would be gone for the most part. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting, because we talk about that in sports psychology. How do you teach something like mental toughness? So if you were teaching your daughter, for example, how to deal with pain, would some of what you've been going through yourself over the last years as you've increased the distances, how does that translate?
Well, that's interesting you should ask, because she is not someone who likes to endure a lot of pain, especially in athletics. Yeah. But yeah, I think reminding oneself that it is temporary and that it's part of a larger goal, that, you know, you have to it's interesting. When I'm training, I'm focused always on that goal. So I go through a lot of pain and fatigue and discomfort during my training runs, and I'm telling myself I'm doing this so that race day will be easier. You know, that's what I'm thinking about it. The harder I work now, the better race day is going to go. So I'm constantly thinking of that goal. And then when race day comes and I feel the pain, then I'm kind of looking backwards at, look at all the work I've done.
Right.
My body is ready for this. My brain is ready for this. I've been here before. I know what it feels like.
Right.
I finally come after four 24-hour races. I've come to realize there's going to be a point where I want to quit, where I hurt so bad, every fiber in my being is telling me to quit. Sometimes I even have tears.
Yeah.
And knowing that that point is going to come and realizing, okay, this is part of the process, it will pass, that's real helpful.
For sure. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Also, like for the 24-hour race in Poland, you were running for the U.S. Did that play into your thinking?
Definitely.
Because I know you struggled early in that race.
Yeah.
And I wonder how, like, knowing that teammates were kind of counting on you, how that affected you.
It definitely did. Early on, I realized I was having some pretty significant GI problems, and it was not going to be my day. You know, when you go to a world championship, you hope it'll be your PR, your best performance of your life, and I could tell early on that wasn't in the cards for me. But I never thought about quitting, because I thought, you know, I have a team here that's relying on me. At some points, I was not part, like, you know, position changes a lot throughout the course of the race, and there were 6 people on the team, 3 score, and at some points I wasn't in the top 3, and so it was easy to kind of think, well, you know, they might be able to do this without me, but I knew that anything could happen. One of those top 3 could fall back at any point, which did happen, and I ended up being the 3rd U.S. woman, and I just thought, you know, I cannot come all the way over here.
Right.
And whether it's going to be the best day of my career or not, I've got to follow it through. And I actually did, because I just kept plodding along. The last couple hours of the race, I felt better and ended up passing. I think my husband was following online. I think he said I passed like 7 people in the last couple hours.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So,
and your total mileage was not too far off your personal record.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was like a mile and a half off or
Right,
something.
right.
So it ended up not being that bad of a day after all.
That's great.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about distance running, whether training or in a race?
I like the feeling of pushing myself beyond what I thought I could do.
Yeah.
You know, and that was what got me to the 24 hours. I had been running races of, 100 miles or 100 kilometers, and I thought, well, what's next? And the 24-hour came up, and then the Tour de Virginia, the run across Virginia, I thought, 550 miles, I don't know if I can do that. And actually the person who organized it said, we might not, it may be that nobody can do this.
Right.
We're just going to have to see. We might all succeed, none of us might succeed. So just like setting this goal and seeing if it's possible. Of course, what I'm left with now is, okay, so I've run for 550 miles, 14 days. Do I want to go beyond that? I mean, that's the challenge is, there's got to be a limit at which point you say, okay, I've achieved what I want to achieve.
Yeah. So you're very driven as far as like reaching challenges and pushing yourself. Do you have any sense of where that drive, that motivation has come from for you? Or if you've worked to develop it?
I don't know. I mean, all I can think is I played sports as a kid, and I wasn't very talented at anything. Soccer, nothing that involved hand-eye coordination, foot coordination, balls. I couldn't do any of that. And I just started running basically because I couldn't do anything else, and I just discovered a talent. I mean, I went out my freshman year in cross country and started winning some races and realized, wow, I'm pretty good at this. And so I think it's built on success after success. And there have definitely been times when I've thought, I'm tired of this, I'm going to retire, so to speak, I'm going to take a break from competition, which feels good at the time, but then that
Yeah.
flame
Then
starts.
the edge comes
Yeah,
back. Yeah.
yeah.
I remember you and I talking a few years ago, and you saying, "Well, I think I'm going to shorten and go for
Yeah.
marathons."
Yeah.
But in fact, you've gone the opposite
I
way
know,
and
I
gone
know,
longer.
I know.
So it kind of reminds me of Scott Jurek, who
Mm-hmm.
in his book Eat and Run is talking, you know, about finding that next challenge.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just pushing to the absolute limit, and kind of
Yeah.
seeing what you're made of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, quite a lot of strength.
I guess so. Yeah. I think the challenge as an aging athlete, though, I mean, not aging, but, you know, at some point I'm going to have to figure out a way for those challenges not to be physical, but to challenge myself in other
Right.
areas of my life
Right.
to channel that
Right.
energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any thoughts about that yet, or are you
Well,
still staying in the moment?
you know, I got a banjo like 8 years ago and have not worked at it as hard as I should have,
Yeah.
so that's kind of on the horizon for someday.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, they talk about the road to being an expert in anything involves 10,000 hours, the whole deliberate practice. You've clearly achieved that probably in about in a year.
Yeah, yeah.
So, again, congratulations on
Thanks.
an amazing year and just a continued great luck with your career.
Thanks, I
Yeah.
appreciate
Thanks
it.
for talking to us.
Sure, thank
All right.
you.
Thank you.